and welcome back to Coffee with the Wolves, presented by JJC Athletics. I'm your host, Damian Dennis, and this week I am joined by Scott Halicky. Welcome.
How you doing, Damian?
It's been a while since you've been on the show. I think about a year at this point. Playing with the sound over here because it's going really loud. But how have you been? We're back. This is our first episode of Coffee with the Wolves since the holiday break. How was your holiday? What'd you do over break?
Good. It was a nice, relaxing break. I have a little over 1-year-old son at home, so it was his first Christmas that he was not just a little potato sitting there. So it was fun to see him opening presents and all that stuff. Got a lot of family time in, and now here we are back to the grind.
It's funny you say that because you know this, but people watching may not. But in October, we welcomed our second daughter.
Yep.
And we did kind of the same thing you just said. Like, she's just a little potato at this point. So we're like, there's no point in really getting her gifts, and
she won't remember.
At her age, she's 2 months old. She can't open things. So I'm like, we'll just ignore her.
And the parents still get them everything at that age. They're grandparents, right?
Yeah. But but anyway, we're here. It's a new year, just about to start a new semester here at JJC. And I thought it was a good time to bring you on, Scott, because you kind of play a role in our student athletes' lives here on campus, not just as an assistant baseball coach, but also sports performance psychology. Is that what it is?
Yep. You could just shorten it, performance psychology coach. Yeah.
But could you, and again, we had you on last year, but, there's new student athletes who might be watching this, new parents. Could you tell anyone watching, just a little bit about that role, that job title, and what you do here, both in the athletic department and with student athletes?
Yeah, for sure. So, like Damian said, performance psychology coach. So essentially what that means is I'm here to support our student athletes throughout whatever it is that may be troubling them throughout the season. I'm here to help with focus. I'm here to help with confidence. I'm here to help with anxiety. I'm here to help with time management, all of that stuff. So anything that I can do in terms of helping our student athletes perform better, that's kind of falls under my role. So team building stuff and everything that kind of happens under that umbrella is what I'm here for.
Yeah. And how long have you been here at JJC now?
I have been here. This is my third year in this position. I was a assistant baseball coach, just strictly assistant baseball coach for a couple years before that. So I think this is my fifth year here at JJC.
Yeah. And just speaking a little bit on baseball, what do you do with the baseball team? Obviously, assistant coach. That's what you do.
Right.
But what is your role with the team?
So my role with the baseball team is I work with the catchers, I work with the hitters, and of course with what's kind of meshed into all my coaching is the mental skills part of it. So that comes kind of more so every day. But my roles are to work with all the catchers and work with all the hitters.
Yeah. So back to kind of your primary job role here, performance psychology. What does a normal day look like for you in that role? Because our offices are, basically right next to each other. Your door is either always open or always shut. When it's shut, you've usually got a student athlete in there.
Yep.
Just a little bit about what your day is usually like.
For sure. Basically, it's not every day is the same, which I love. I'll have some kind of quieter days, some super busy days, but generally what happens is when I get in here in the morning, up until early afternoon, I have office hours. So that's typically when I'll have students come in and see me for those one-on-one sessions where they can talk about they're not feeling confident, they're feeling performance anxiety, they're feeling just all over the place because they have so much on their plate. So that's kind of when we can get those individual one-on-one sessions in, kind of in the middle of all their classes and when they're already on campus and everything. And then afternoon, I'm usually doing some presentations. I'll have some presentations I'm getting, and now is kind of like the busy season because I'm still in winter, and then we're heading into the spring sports. So kind of trying to pack all those different presentations in there. And then baseball practice. So I have usually three different things that I'm doing in different ways, shapes, and form each day, but generally consists of mornings I'm meeting with students. Afternoons are typically presentations, and then last thing is typically baseball practice.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about some of these things you help student athletes with. Now, is it all strictly sports related? Like, is it about their, performance or confidence or whatever when they're on the court, on the field? Or do you also try to help with maybe classroom anxieties, or personal anxieties? That sort of
great
thing?
question. Great question. My degree is in performance psychology. That's kind of why I chose this route instead of just going for a normal sports psychology, is because I want to help people perform in all aspects, right? You're a performer in your job. You're a performer when you're a dad, a husband, all these things. So everything that I work on there obviously are some things like when we're talking about visualization that can help them specifically in their sport. But then if we're talking about something like meditation, that transcends sport, right? If somebody learns how to be present and learns how to meditate when they're 18, 19 years old, that translates to the classroom. That translates to the future when they are a parent, they have a job, they have all these other things. So we're all performing every day in all of our different roles. So my job is definitely not just sports. I try to, like I said, transcend the sports and try to help them become a better person as well.
Yeah. Now we're heading into a new semester. Right? It starts next week?
Monday. Yep.
Yeah, Monday. So starts on Monday. Junior college. There's going to be some student athletes who are arriving on campus, maybe not for the first time, but going to class for the first time. Other student athletes who maybe have already been in class since the fall, but they're going to be heading into their sports. Your baseball players. I know baseball and softball have like a fall season, but
it's not anything compared to like the actual season.
But what kind of tips do you have for or advice, I guess, for new student athletes and honestly even the current student athletes? Because I see plenty of the ones. I've been here over a year now. Some of the ones who were freshmen last year, sophomores, still going to your office to talk to you about things. So just tips in general.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say number one is time management, and that's such a basic answer, but it's very true, right? You see all these student athletes, they come in and they have 14 hours of class, and then throughout the week they have practice every day. They have games. They're traveling. Junior college, so a majority of our student athletes work. They have family obligations. So it can get really easy to become overwhelmed, right? So a lot of what I try to help students with is time management. So even just something as simple, and I'll have kids sit in my office and we'll go through an entire week. What do you have Monday? All day Monday I have practice, I have work, I have to recover, I have to make sure I get my 8 hours of sleep. So going through every day and just making sure that you have that all planned out, because that's one less thing that you have to think about. What do I have to do next? Well, let me just look at my calendar. So I would say time management and getting good with managing your time is obviously a big one, and that's something that a lot of 18, 19-year-olds struggle with, regardless of being a student athlete. So
it's funny because you mentioned that, and I'm just like, when I was 18 or 19 or 24, 25, I was terrible with
way over my head.
Yeah, I was just terrible with my time management. Whereas now, I'm probably the inverse, and I'll get a project done like immediately. That's not due for weeks. Like I went to grad school in my 30s as a new dad. Like my daughter, I got my acceptance letter a week before my daughter was born. That's exactly crazy. 1 week, and I'm like, okay.
Right, that's crazy. So you had to learn time management as well. But that's huge, and that kind of goes with what I was saying before about if you learn time management now when you're an 18, 19-year-old and you really practice that and put it into play for you every day, then that just becomes something that is easier when you're a 30-year-old new dad or new mom, you know. So, I would say time management. And then I kind of alluded to it before, but sleep. Sleep and self-care are two things that I think student athletes really, really lack on. They think they have to stay up till 2 a.m. doing their homework, and that kind of comes back to time management, right? But you see all the time kids coming in here and they're getting 5-6 hours of sleep and trying to go through their day, and over time it just doesn't work like that. You can't be at your best when you're only sleeping and not taking care of yourself. So a lot of the student athletes that come into my office, they'll hear me talk about filling up your cup, right? So if you have this cup of coffee and every day you're doing stuff and you're pouring it out, eventually that's going to be gone, right?
Yeah.
That's your energy. Eventually that energy is going to be gone. So sleep and self-care are the ways that you can add a little bit more into your cup, right?
Yeah.
So it's important to always be filling up your cup by sleeping and doing things that you enjoy that have nothing to do with your sport.
Yeah. Now I see your note here. You have nutrition
Yep.
on here too.
Yep.
Want to bring that up just because before we came in here to record, I was talking to the track coach about my diet. What tips do you have for nutrition, or like kind of what do you talk to the student athletes about in that respect?
Just making sure that you understand what kind of calories you're putting in, understand what kind of calories you're burning. Obviously, in sports like basketball and track where you're running all the time, you're going to be burning a lot of calories, right? So it's important to understand what you're putting into your body so that you have enough energy to make it through whatever you need to get through. And then try to stay away from the McDonald's every day.
Yeah.
I see our baseball guys coming in here before a workout and they're eating McDonald's, and I'm like, dude, come on, what are we doing?
I've pretty much cut McDonald's and fast food out. I'm trying to get like once a month is one thing.
Yeah, treat yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly, treat yourself.
Any more than that, though, you got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to the track coach about that too, because I'm like, I've cut out like fast food and junk food. I'm following a diet, but there's one exception: French fries.
Yep, that you got to treat yourself, right?
Any other tips you got for student athletes? Anything else you try to impart, your wisdom upon them when they come to see you?
Honestly, meditation. That's probably a lot of the people that come in to me. I try to have them explore meditation and what that process looks like, because again, that's something that if you teach yourself how to be present and to be aware of where your attention is now, it only sets yourself up for success in the future. So that's a big one as well.
What does meditation look like to you? Because everybody kind of has a different, I guess, meditation has a different look for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it look like to you?
Yeah, for sure. So I always say with the people who come in and see me, it's kind of a two-prong thing, and most people don't get past the first prong. They'll sit there, and let's say they're focusing on their breath. They're trying to meditate with their breath for 5 minutes, and they will lose attention, right? Mm-hmm. They'll close their eyes, and they'll start breathing, and then 30 seconds later, they're thinking about the homework they have to do. And then they open up their eyes. They're like, "Oh man, I can't meditate. I'm no good at this."
Yeah.
But the real magic happens when you're bringing your attention back to whatever it is that you're meditating on, right? If it's your breath, 5 minutes goes by and 5 different times your mind wanders off to something that isn't happening now, and you focus on bringing it back to that breath or whatever it is. Again, that's training your brain to be able to do that in the future, so that on the court you make a bad play or you make a mistake, you're less likely to get stuck in that. You can more easily kind of switch into another train of thought. So it's an exercise in attention. And I think a lot of people just do it for the physical, I'm going to breathe and I'm going to feel good in 5 minutes, but I think it goes beyond that into the attention span.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned the court, and I had this question for you in mind, or not really a question, but I wanted to ask, because I know you and Nick, the other assistant coach, are always on the press row down here for basketball games. How'd you get roped into that?
I like it. I'm not going to lie. I like it, and I like that kind of front row view. Honestly, for my job, it's great to be able to see what they're doing on the court.
Yeah.
And it's not just on the court, it's on the bench, right? When they get pulled off after making a mistake, kind of see how they're responding to that, because those little moments on the court are some things that I can bring to a team presentation. Remember when so-and-so did this? This is how we can not do that, right?
Yeah.
So it's cool to have that kind of courtside view so I can see as much as I need to see.
Has there ever been an instance where you've seen something like that happen and you've walked over to the bench to talk to the player, or do you wait until, it's not game time, basically?
Yeah, I generally wait. And with baseball, obviously that's something that I'll do right away because I'm with them every single day, and kind of those lines are a little bit more blurred. But I never want to step on any coach's toes, and I don't want to so if there's a coach that wants me to say something, and Sean Sanderson has done that in the past where he's brought the girls in at halftime and had me kind of talk to them and lead them through a breathing or something. But like I said, I don't really want to step on any coach's toes. So if they invite me to talk, then I'm there for it. But I don't really go poking my nose in anywhere.
Do you ever take notes about something so you make sure you don't forget it?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That's what my notes app on my phone looks like.
Well, Scott, I don't have any other questions for you. Do you have anything else you'd like to say maybe to the student athletes or, their parents or whoever might be watching as far as it relates to your role?
Yeah, I just want everybody out there who's watching, all the parents, all the student athletes, to know that we have somebody in the building who is dedicated to the support of your student athletes, dedicated to you. I'm here. My literal only job is to be here in any way to support them, and we are lucky as a junior college to have this position. I said it last year, and I don't know if it's still the case, but we were the only junior college to have somebody dedicated to mental health. So it is my job to care, and genuinely, if you ask any of our student athletes, that's what I do is I care, and I'm here to be your hype man and somebody who's behind you. So if you need somebody to talk to, whether it be performance anxiety, lack of confidence, time management, or some stuff going on at home, I'm here, and I'm here to support you.
Cool. Last question for you. What kind of coffee were you drinking today?
Yeah, this is just water at this point.
Yeah.
I cleaned it out a little bit. It was just coffee with a little splash of almond milk because I'm out of creamer. So
yeah. Well, you heard me in the hallway. I haven't had coffee. I did go to a Starbucks yesterday, but today I haven't had any coffee. I don't think I had coffee. I know I went to Dunkin' on Monday too, so I had coffee Sunday, Monday. Okay, I hit the trifecta thinking about it. I went to Big B with my daughter on Sunday.
Good.
Went to Dunkin' before coming into the office here on Monday, and then yesterday after I dropped the kid off at school, I went to Starbucks. So, okay.
Coffee with the wolves.
Yeah. Anyway, Happy New Year to those of you watching. It's a new semester here at JJC. We're about to finish the second half of winter sports, get into spring sports, so it's going to be a fun rest of the year.
That's right. Go Wolves.